When we were here in May, I said that we'd come back later in the summer to look at furze in fruit. So here we are now in August, when all the golden flowers have turned to these black hairy seed pods, which structurally they're very similar to pea pods, except they're smaller, they're much hornier in texture and quite difficult to open with your fingernails. But as they mature, tension builds up in opposite directions in the two valves of the pod, the two halves of the pod, until they ultimately rupture, scattering the seeds to some distance, but generally not far enough away from the plant for them to have a good chance of germinating successfully. And that is where these little structures come in. If you look at the seeds, you'll see that each has a little yellow or orange structure at the end of it, which is an oil body or iliosome. And its function is to attract ants, which will pick up the seeds and carry them to their nest, inevitably dropping some along the way where they will stand a much better chance of germinating successfully. And ants are seldom very far away, because there's a species of aphid that feeds on the shoots and stems and green seeds of furze, sometimes in great numbers. And ants tend and protect these aphids for their sugary honeydew, which forms an important element in the diet of the ants. And this particular species of aphid, in fact, is confined to furze and is found only in Britain and Ireland. Few plants support a higher number of invertebrates than furze, weevils, bees and butterflies prominent among them, not only as a food plant, but because it provides such a varied labyrinth of habitats. There's hardly a part of the plant that is not eaten by one or other of a range of butterflies and moths, including the green hairstreak and holly blue butterflies. Moths include grass wave and grass emerald. The tiny case-carrying moth Coleophora albicosta feeds exclusively on the seeds. Many spiders take advantage of the larger opportunities provided by this abundant insect life, and there is no other plant that brings home to us the normally unseen abundance of spiders when the bushes are festooned with gossamer on autumn mornings. Among the birds that have mastered the technique of perching on the thorny branches are stonechat and whinchat. But surely the most amazing insect of furze is the furze weevil, which lays its eggs, one to each pod, and inside the little weevil caterpillar feeds exclusively on the seeds, and it has reached full size by the time the pod explodes. And when it does so, the little weevil is catapulted at speed, its first excursion into the open air, in what must be the indescribable weevil equivalent of thrilling exhilaration. I'm sorry we have deprived this particular weevil of that once-in-a-lifetime thrill. And although one weevil per pod is the rule, I once found 5 in the same pod, all patiently waiting their moment of liberation. It is as remarkable as any other fact about its remarkable life that this little creature is running around for the first time in its life on legs it has never used before. Powered by muscles it has never exercised like this before.